There we go, recording in progress. Okay, so let's get started. Sorry, I thought that was somebody else. Let's get started. I'm Millie. I've been coordinating your Kenya experience, and we'll coordinate it to get you there and to get you back, which is always the interesting, tougher part of the journey. So, as I said a minute ago, it really is good news, and the new music is so much better. The red lists for Africa have been dropped. Therefore, we definitely feel the threat of Kenya going on the red list has been negated. So that is all brilliant. Clearly, we are now watching how this virus is going to pick up pace, and what other countries, how they view us, as we are such a good country at reporting all our cases. So as we saw this time last year, a few countries might get rattled by that and increase their testing measures for you to enter their country. But as we know, looking at Kenya, they're already pretty strict in that you've got to have your PCR test 96 hours before you arrive. And they could go to the next stage in saying you've got to be quarantined for 7 days on arrival, which is a walk in the park for us, because the camp has been awarded a designated quarantine area. So if that happens, we are already organised. So that just means, and we've been doing it all year, you stay in camp, you still do your project work. It just means you can't go to Watamu at the weekend. So that's the only thing it really will affect. So as far as I'm concerned, we're good to go to proceed with all the admin. Crack on if you haven't, booking your flights, the visas, the insurance, I'm giving you the go ahead to move forward. If playing the what if, it does go on the red list when you're there, your insurance, which you're going to buy through Campbell Irvine, will remain intact and valid. If any other country you want to add on goes back onto the red list, then I will email you all with a different insurance which is valid up and holds firm, even when the government, the FCDO advice recommends you not to travel there. So we've got that taken care of. So those are the only kind of gremlins, that we really had to discuss on with regard to the red list. But while we're here, do any of you have any other questions with regard to the admin and logistics to get out to Kenya? Melissa, in your pajamas? Anyone?
Yeah, I got one.
Far away.
So the visa, how long does it take to apply for?
Get on with it. It should take 24 hours to process. Okay. And give yourself a very calm few hours to approach it, because as people who have any of you done it, honestly, it's the worst form in the world to fill out. Honestly, it nearly caused a divorce in this household, when we were processing it. So brace yourself. And don't think when you filled in the form, it sends you a receipt. That is not your visa, okay? So you have to go back on to the Kenyan website the following day, and it will either say visa still in process or visa error. And then you have to go through the whole thing and just see where your error is. And it should be in red. Sometimes it's not. So it's just a matter of just going through it, but be on it. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, how long does the visa last for? If we're staying out after the leap, will it cover that as well?
Yes. Top tip though, when you arrive, they'll look at when on the entry form you fill in on the aeroplane, you'll see, flight in and flight out. And they often give you that stamp on arrival in line with your flight out. You don't want that because you're going to change it probably. So ask them for a 90-day stamp on arrival at the airport.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? No. Okay.
Oh, one more.
Yeah.
When should we book flights?
Okay, through Trailfinders. They've
Okay.
got the flight itinerary, which we want you all to get, and it's via Doha, and you get there first thing in the morning. What you're going to do is then get picked up. We've arranged a taxi that's going to take you then to Wilson Airport, which is about half an hour away. If you've got time, it's going to take you via the elephants or the giraffes and just give you a bit of a kind of guide. Time, so that is a kind of just budget about $20 for that moment. Just have $20 on you in cash to pay the driver. It's probably less than that, but budget for that. The telephone number for Trailfinders is 0207 368 1499, and that gets you straight to the corporate team. Tell them that you're on the LEAP January Kenya program, and all the details will fire up. But you have to book the internal flights through Safari Link, and that is in the big admin email. Have you got access to the admin email?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, have a look in that. The Safari Link guide is in there.
Thank you.
So you've got the visa, you've got the flights, you've got your PCR test that you need. And in that last week pre-arrival, pre-departure, I will send you a checklist of all the forms you've got to fill in, of which there are masses, and just have access to a printer to print them all off, because there's more QR codes than you can shake a stick at to get in. Okay, with regard to injections, okay, so a few people are ringing up saying, do we need to have rabies? Do we need to have Hep B? We can't recommend, because we're clearly not doctors, but most people historically have got the typhoid, the Hep A. Check you've got a tetanus booster. It's the waterborne diseases that you really want to be mindful of. Getting rabies, getting Hep B, are really hard to get at the moment. So, it's not essential. And in 30 years of doing this, we've never come across a rabid animal. So, that's personal choice. You do need malaria tablets. Now, please do not go and get anything silly like Lariam. That can make you go completely psycho in the head. That is to be avoided. Malarone is the kind of good old normal run-of-the-mill malaria tablet. Now, it can be expensive. So when you go to your doctor to get a prescription, just ask them, you don't particularly want the Malarone, which is labeled Malarone. They can give you an alternative, and God, I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? Doxycycline, that's it. Okay, doxycycline, which is slightly different, it's an antibiotic. So just, put pressure on the doctors to really look into it for you. Top tip on the malaria pills, and be mindful of taking them. You have to start taking them probably 3 days before you go. If you feel out of sorts and not yourself, okay, you might, if you suddenly feel a bit depressed or a bit anxious or sick, talk to the guys on the ground, because it is very, very common. I would say in every group, there's 2 or 3 that react really badly to this. So we will look at it on an individual case and kind of work out what the best way forward is. But, if you're feeling weird, it's probably your malaria tablets. Okay. With regard to the itinerary, so what we're what we're doing, there's a big group of you. You're going to be split into 2 groups and have a kind of role reversal, what you're doing in the mornings, a kind of change in the afternoons. But those groups are also going to be shaped up so that you're not sitting in that same group throughout the whole experience. So, it's good for group dynamics. There's going to be a bit of everything every day, from the snorkeling to the community work to the environmental work. And so that so you have a kind of diverse mixed experience. That's what everybody's kind of the feedback says. Weekends, please be careful. Okay, everyone fibs to me and says, no, we're not going to go on the local scooters and the local motorbikes. And then, lo and behold, I do stalk you all on Instagram, and I see you whizzing around the streets on the back of these motorbikes in your shorts with your flip-flops with not a hat on. Please be careful. Okay, that I know that you will see that is the main kind of taxi service, that you just basically ask them. They're called bodders. And if you wanted anything from the local shop, you would give them a couple of dollars and they'd whiz the local shop and whiz back to it, or give you a lift on the back of a bodder. Please be careful. That is one of the biggest threats in Kenya for you guys and girls. And at the weekends, most people go up to Kilifi or up to Watamu for the night. We're really happy for you to do that. It's great fun. Just, it's your kind of independent, it's only half an hour away from camp, but be careful. There's loads of kind of beach boys that are ready to sell you anything from, fake sunglasses to everything else. So just say no. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I know that it's quite Islam, one of the main religions, isn't it, in Kenya? Do we have to cover shoulders and knees when we go out, or?
No, you don't.
Okay.
But you do. I mean, walking around in a bikini, not on the beach, is a definite no-no.
Mm.
And I know that sounds really silly, but people will come off the beach and might walk down the road to go to a cafe. Don't do that. When you come off the beach, you definitely cover up. But you can still have your shoulders and knees exposed, but walking around in a bikini, or just the boys just walking around in your trunks, don't do that. When it comes to in the camp, you got all your food there, and it's all kind of, it's family atmosphere, and they do your laundry, but they don't do your underwear. So you just wash that in the sink and hang it up, outside. So you might want to take some, you can get those little packets of, washing laundry stuff, or just use shampoo, whatever. But they don't do that. Okie dokes. Masses, you're going to spend your entire life in the ocean. So masses of bikinis, masses of swimming trunks. You're going to be going through probably 2 or 3 sets a day, on rotation. Definitely take a good couple of towels. Flip-flops, reef shoes, pair of trainers. You need all of that. Jack and I have just gone through the kit list, so have a look at the kit list, and everything on there is for a reason. So don't just think, oh, I don't need that, because you do. Okay, the snorkel and the mask is absolutely vital. The Cressy is a very good brand, CRESSI. It's not expensive. You can get it on Amazon. It's probably 30 quid. You don't need flippers. They're not essential. But if you like swimming around with flippers on, snorkeling, then Cressy does this great pack. But, the flippers is optional. But reef shoes is critical. The safari also is an amazing thing to do. Now, I know it's expensive at $300 odd. But trust me, for a safari in Africa, that is cheap as chips. And also, you get so much more. I know it sounds expensive, but it's an inexpensive safari for what it is. It's really stylish, this place. It's not full of tourists. It's in Savo. It's really, really beautiful. So I highly, highly recommend it. And it's really fun. You can cycle into, you know, close to the park, not through the park, but, you know, there's a big adventure element to it. Okay, anything else while I rattle on? Okay, I'll just carry on prattling on then. Money. Next thing that everyone talks about, how much spending money do I really need? Well, your most spending money is going to go on the few beers during the week, and there's a bar in the camp where you just kind of have a tab. There's a little lady that's on the street that sells samosas and snacks and things, and you just pay her as you go along. I would say anything for about 100 to 150 quid a week in spending money, but that will include also if you go to Watamu at the weekends, but budget along those lines. How do you get your money out? Do not try and get Kenyan shillings before you get there. When you get there, you just go to an ATM and you get the shillings out of the hole in the wall. It is literally that simple. Yes, a Revolut, Monzo, debit cards, they're all really good. Okay, when you pay for the safari, and you've all kind of decided, you know, which date, then the safari company will give you their UK bank details and you pay them, you know, buybacks to their details. Okay. The scuba, for those who are doing scuba, you'll pay it by bank card on your debit card to the scuba company in Kilifi. Phone, there is Wi-Fi in the house, so that's all really, really easy. You won't really take your phones out and about when you're on your project work, not to really use. You might, you know, as a camera, but not to kind of dial home at that time. You can get a local SIM card. All that will be sorted on arrival. So they will talk you through that on day one. Take a spare phone. It's amazing how many people just drop their phone into the ocean. It's amazing. It happens every time. And they're really expensive to buy phones out in Kenya. So I know most families have a drawer in the kitchen full of old phones and old wires and stuff. So if you've got one, shove one into your rucksack. Okay. The climate, it is going to be stinking hot, glorious, blue sky, clear skies, warm ocean, white sand. I mean, you are going at prime time. It is nothing, it does not get better than that. But with that gorgeous environment comes what I worry about way more than COVID is you getting dehydration. Okay, dehydration can kick in really, really quickly. It starts with a headache. It can move into kind of body aches and pains. Often people in the first week think, oh my God, have I got COVID? And it's invariably dehydration. So it is because you're not, remember, you're probably not used to working really hard in that type of heat. I know it always comes as a shock to myself when I'm starting digging holes and things, thinking, Jesus, should I not be just lying on a sun lounger, you know, in the shade? But oh no, I'm working. I'm working, grafting hard in the midday sun. So be very mindful. Hats, really important, and keeping your fluids up. Really useful. In Holland and Barrett, you can get these. They're like Redoxin. They're not Redoxin. They're rehydration tablets. And whenever I go to the tropics, I just drop one of those in my water bottle every day, just for the first week, to make sure that my sugar and salts are up to speed. Don't drink the water from the tap in Kenya. That is a definite no-no. Yep. So, you know, bottled water will be provided at all times. But, you know, when you're cleaning your teeth, you know, don't just think, oh, I'll just have a quick glass. That's going to go pear-shaped. Okay. So I think I've got my little list here. Bear with me while I just check my list. I think we've gone through everything, haven't we?
Yeah,
No outstanding admin from the girls. You've all been very good. Let me tell you, the Costa team have been hopeless. Couple of consent forms. Liv's emailed. And other than that, that is all I really wanted to say to you. You know, the overriding message is Kenya is going to happen, crack on with all the admin. Incidentally, just with you guys that I've got today, are you all thinking of staying on after the program and independently traveling?
Maybe, yeah.
Possibly,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, I could really, really help with that, and Jack and Tilda and the whole team in Kenya. Okay, thanks, Freya. It's really, really awesome to do. And I strongly recommend that you go across, you go up to Lamu, you go inland to Kenya to stay with some great friends called the Savage family. And there it's really cheap accommodation, but you can go whitewater rafting, climb Mount Kenya, you know, all that type of fiddling about. Nairobi, you really don't want to spend any time in Nairobi. That is just grim. But you can drop down into Tanzania. Maybe if anybody wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, we've got some really good contacts with that. And then you could end up in Zanzibar, amazing place. So there is loads to do in Africa. Leap VIP, which we will, you know, if you're staying, we'll just make you automatically members of. It's got loads of links and addresses, and you've got access to our African network. So use it, because Africa is expensive and not the easiest place to whiz about on. In fact, it's not easy at all. So use that network. They are there ready to assist. Okay. So other than that, happy Christmas to you all, and exciting. We will be following your journey. You will love it. I'm extremely envious. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Any questions?
You
All good? Okay, so you know where we are. Call us anytime. Take care to you all.
Thank you very much.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.